Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 24th of May, comes to you from London. And we're seeing quite a bit of green on the screen this morning. Market's getting off to quite a good start, and we'll take a look at the energy mix, not looking as strong. So we'll take a look at that just after we look at the main market. So first of all, we see the US dollar just teetering along the bottom here, this 89.75 level becoming critical. We have activated a downside target to 85 on the short-term chart. We're waiting for this long-term activation at the moment on the longer-term chart. Remembering this is my weekly, my daily, and my 60-minute chart. So this data coming from Thomson Reuters Refinitiv icon, and we see here that we are bearish on all three time frames. That means the euro is looking bullish, holding around this 122 level, just hitting a bit of a range over the last few days, but still looking very good on the longer term charts, not yet activating these upside targets. Taking a look at sterling, we're sitting at 140, 142, fairly static against the dollar the last several weeks, but we are just nudging this new high, and we do have this very clear targets to 146, so that's where we expect to go to, and a longer term target of 150. Bitcoin is sitting at $36,000. So the interesting thing here on this chart is we do have new downside targets with all the action that we've seen. A downside target to 14,795 is the new downside target. And of course this target to 29,987. So downside targets are not good news, but we still do have this upside target. And if we move below this level where the upside target was activated, at around 30,000. If we fall below $30,000, then that long-term upside target comes off the chart. So that's something we need to just be aware of. But we're not massively worried about Bitcoin above $30,000. Looking at the S&P 500 index, we were down very slightly on Friday. Quite a turbulent week for markets, obviously. We're still struggling just to get into bullish territory on the short-term chart. And the NASDAQ is just getting back above. It looks like we might be finding cloud support, so that's good news for the markets. And the futures are higher, so we're seeing the S&P future up 0.5%, the NASDAQ E-mini future up 0.5%. So it does look like US markets will open higher. The VIX volatility sitting at 20, so looking quite strong there. The FTSE future is up 0.25%, so that's quite strong, and the DAX future is up 0.5%, and we're seeing similar rises in Germany, so again looking stronger. Europe actually having a good start to the week. For the French market's fairly flat, the CAC 40, and Japan was up 0.5%, so we're seeing Asia looking a little bit stronger. Hang Seng was down slightly, Chinese market up 0.3%. And the Indian market, despite coronavirus, is holding on to its bull trend, having found very clear cloud support on the daily chart. So still looking bullish there. And the Aussie market holding the 7,000 level. We'll take a look at the energy mix in a minute. But first look at soft commodities, down 2.4% on wheat. So we're really pulling right the way back to trend here. We still do have lots of upside targets, so it does still look long-term bullish. And corn also pulling back just under 2%. Again, looking long-term bullish. The target's less clear there. Gold sitting at 18.75, pretty static at these levels, holding bullish above the cloud, so still looking pretty good. And silver 27.50. We're just waiting really for this big breakout of this triangle on silver. That will be very explosive. Copper actually managed to edge higher, and that's quite interesting given the Chinese Dectrodon holding prices lower. That's still pushing higher there. US 10-year yield sitting at 1.62% on the bond, so that's quite key. Bund yields, the Bund prices, the future is still below the 170 level, so that's still pretty critical, that support level, and this is the long-term trend level. So the longer we hang around below 170, the more we feel bond markets will slowly enter a new era of downtrend, which hasn't happened for decades. Brent crude is looking strong this morning. We've got new upside targets. 70.90 is the target. Looks like we're going back to the top of the range. We're not quite above the cloud yet. Keep an eye on these 1 minute charts and don't be afraid to play with the box sizes. 67.95 is the next stop. Interestingly, we met that target. That's very short term bullish. Keep an eye on those targets. WTI, similar picture, of course. US nat gas was an interesting one. We gave a target to 310 last week in our morning call to clients. That was met. We actually went to 315. Then we turned bearish, and we've got downside pressure. So at the moment, we are bearish on the nat gas for the week. Coal, very much in a range, waiting for the break there. We do have a couple of good upside targets still. Emissions, all eyes will be on this week. Will we go lower than the level that we saw last week? And these are the key things. This is the levels that we see. If we just put those auto levels on, 53.60 is the level that we need to watch. We move above that, then we look at this level. But of course, if we go below this level, that will activate quite a big downside target. So we're back to 38.90. So we do need to watch that. Emissions are going to be very interesting this week. Again, keep an eye on your 1 minute charts on the emission targets, and you'll see the price action producing new prices. The UK future had a reasonable start to the week despite the turbulence last week. It's just sitting under 50, and we'll keep an eye on that for clients. Obviously, the charts are still very limited there. Gas markets, much the same picture all the way around. We've given all these ranges in our morning report to clients this week. All depends on which way we break. Do we break higher or do we break lower? And all those levels are on the charts and given. Similar with power markets, we're seeing that as well. And German power has this range at the moment of about 60.50 to 65, and we have activated this downside target back to 60. So it looks like we might play with this floor this week. So that's quite interesting. And looking at Nordic power, we are stuck in a range in the CAL, so we're neutral here. We were neutral last week. This is the quarterly, still looking pretty bullish, actually holding on. So one to watch there, but that's looking a little bit better. And UK power not looking as bearish, finding support on the 60-minute cloud as well. We need to break 84.50 to run again, but it's quite key. All these markets in energy, it's all about new highs or new lows. That's what we've got to watch this week. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.